This is Edgar Allan Poe. You can probably recognize him from his dark, brooding eyes and his classic non-smile. The hair's new, and it's probably because of this guy that we got this whole new genre. We can probably describe him as a Byronic person, based on he, the person, and his life. But there's way much more under that skin of his. Today, we're going to go ahead and talk and possibly learn more about him through the means of Dark Sean. Let's get this started with. First order of business, he was born in Boston, Massachusetts. Not this Boston, Massachusetts, but you get the point. And he was born there on January 19th of 1809. His parents was his dad was an American actor, and his mom was a British actor, and they basically hooked up. Edgar Allan Poe was kept at home, well, because they need to go on road trips to get their stuff and their money, and, well, eventually that led to a few complications, let's say that's I'm going to say. His dad left the family in 1810, and his, mom died because of tuberculosis in 1811, so that left him homeless. And with that, he was adopted by this family of this guy named John Allan. However, I only say adopted because they haven't ever officially adopted him for the rest of his till he's an adult. He goes ahead and lives with these guys. They give him all the food, the stuff they need, and this guy treats him like a father, a really good father too, possibly better than the father that Edgar Allan Poe had. This is the only reason why Edgar Allan Poe is called Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe, when he was born, he was just called Edgar Poe. However, when he became his foster dad, but never actually officially adopted him, he decided to use Allan as his middle name. And with that, he gets the rest of his money with this guy. You might think he's nice and good looking, especially since he does not have the dark looking brooding face. However, this guy is a complete jerk, in my opinion. When Edgar Allan Poe ran into gambling issues and said, "Dad, can you help me?" He's like, "Hell no, you're an adult now. You should go help yourself." And alright, that's a good point, but you never taught him about gambling and those kinds of things. And he's like, "Hell no, you shouldn't have gambled in the first place. I don't gamble. You don't know the rush. And I don't want to, and you shouldn't have either." And with that, he's not of a big help. And then when Edgar Allan Poe gets into a university, he's like, "Hey, Dad, yeah, I ran out of money to go to university, but I want to keep on doing my courses." "Hell no, I'm not paying for school. You pay for your school." And yeah, this guy's a complete jerk in my opinion. All he did is give him some money and clothes. That's it. There's enough money to live a week there. It's like, you start up here, get a good job. And fine. And with that, he tries to get a good job, but then he gets fired because he made up an article. That you should not do when you get a real job. And after that, he was kicked out of school. He was kicked out of the job and decided, you know what? If I can't get a job, I can't go to school. I'll go to the only place in the United States of America that will accept me. The United States of America Army, aka the U.S. Army. And so he does, after he somehow pays back his debts. He enlisted in the army on May 27th of 1827 and as a private. And after he got the private rank, he decided to go ahead and get some higher ranks too, because apparently if he wanted to marry the dream of his life, he would need to get a higher rank. And so he goes to West Point Academy, and there he gets nice grades, some A pluses, some B's, little mixes of that. And then afterward, he decided, you know what, I'm going to write a book and highly criticized the curriculum of West Point Academy. With that, he was told, "You're gonna get expelled." And it's like, "I'll disown you if you got expelled." And it's like, I want to get expelled. You know what? Aha, that's one more trouble thing. You're expelled, sir. Hooray! And his dad disowned him. Yay! Now I can live independently. And it's like, "But Dad, why did you have to leave me? I will now, from now on, only write this as my signature." And for the rest of his life, he wrote EAP as his signature, not Edgar Allan Poe. He wrote that or Edgar A. Poe. He only wrote EAP for the rest of his life. while he was still at West Point before he was kicked out of school, he was funded. He somehow got his poem funded by fellow students and teachers who believed in his poetry book. He wrote a bunch of poetry books, got the publishing costs covered, and with that, he got a good success. And like, read this book, and everyone bought their copies, and they're like, yay, let's read. It's so dark and brooding. It's nothing about happiness and so controversial topics. And one of them is like, such a disappointment. I'm giving it to my dad as a birthday present, and they're like, what a disappointment. No wonder my son wanted to give it to me. And with that, he was an instant failure at West Point too. He published more books after that skirmish with the first poem. He wrote this, Tourmaline. After a few more attempts and a few more depths, going back to school, going back to depths, he finally wrote this, The Raven, something worth reading. It's really funny because this kind of reminds me of the version of Bart Simpson with the Raven. Like, if you ever watch The Simpsons, then you watch every episode, then you'll probably remember this episode where Lisa literally reads the Raven by Edgar Allan Poe to Bart in the treehouse, and I think Molly too. And the acting part, the part with the imagination, it showed Homer as the main character, the guy who hears Nevermore. Lenore was the played by Homer's wife. I forgot her name, and Bart was the Raven, and all he said was Nevermore. And that's literally the whole point of the Raven. The Raven's like Nevermore, and that's the answer to all his questions. That works. However, Edgar Allan Poe gambled all that away, went back into debt, and like, because he thought that he should have earned more money from the Raven. He always thinks he needs more money from the Raven. That sucks, does it? It does. And then he started drinking. He started having the worst day of his life. Wrote more books, including the Mask of Red Death. And then he suddenly was found in a dark alleyway, semi-conscious, with looking drunk, and he was found there, and it's like, Edgar Allan Poe? Edgar A. Poe? Yes, what is it? And with that, he was sent to the hospital. The hospital could not figure out what he was sick of, and he died. To this day, we don't know why the famous Edgar Allan Poe died on October 3rd of 1849. I mean, even for early 19th century people, dying at the age of 40 is still a bit too young. Nowadays, most people live till 80. That's half of our lifetime. And look how much our age gap has gone through in 200 years. That's pretty much all the time I pretty much have for. And with that, I summarize the life of Edgar Allan Poe. This guy was a nice man, and if he saw the numbers of the sale numbers of his books nowadays, and how much people like him, and how popular he is nowadays, and that he's being taught in English classes, almost every English class in the world teaching poetry, maybe that would put a little smile to that brooding face of his. Instead of this, you turn to this. And that's it for today. I really hope you guys actually did enjoy this episode. And what are your thoughts on Edgar Allan Poe's life? Tell me all your controversies of how he died in the comments below. And until next time, Not out. Peace. Bye-bye. This has been a Darkshine production.